I know a lot of people that will drop their car off or their boat off at a shop and then disappear till after the holidays are over when they get money back in their pocket.
Can you do the mechanics lien on it and own a boat after 30 days? Does that go for boats too?
Sure, why not?
That'd be nice. That'd be a nice way to get a boat.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'll give you some advice. Go for it.
Built by sheet metal fabricators for sheet metal fabricators, Paperless Parts is the industry's #1 quoting and collaboration software, helping more than 700 shops across North America simplify every step of the quoting process in a secure, centralized environment. With patented technology, its automated costing and pricing logic is tailored specifically to your shop. By streamlining your workflow, Paperless Parts saves time, boosts profitability, and helps deliver an unbeatable customer experience. Visit paperlessparts.com to learn more.
Hello, this is Dan Davis of the Fabricator Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Raphael. That always sounds weird, joined by. Like, he joined me. Like, I was two separate parts till he showed up. Yeah. He joined me.
Conjoined with.
Let's say. Co-hosting with me today is Raphael Guerrero of the Welder Magazine. How are you, Raphael?
Good to be back here in the studio.
Yes, it's good to be back in the studio. Because this episode, we were not in a studio. We're in a temporary studio in Indianapolis at the PRI Show. Gareth, what's PRI stand for?
Performance Racing International?
No, Institute.
I was going to say
Institute.
it's not right.
Everybody knows that.
And I should have gone with my gut.
It's a famous institute. Of all the institutes, it's one of the most famous.
Right. And they were very, accommodating.
Yeah, no. We had a great conversation there and a lot of gearheads. I mean, it was definitely some place where you could feel the vibe. People wanted to be there and excited to be there. We talked with Mike Finnegan, a longtime host of Motor Trend's Roadkill series on YouTube. I think he did that for like 13 years, just came to an end. And he's a guy that always been a gearhead, actually studied journalism and started making videos back in the day and became very popular. And now kind of doing his own thing. So I think the conversation is going to be really interesting. I think people will enjoy it.
Yeah. And Tom Patsis joined us.
Yeah. So Tom Patsis, you might remember him from previous episodes where I think we talked with him at FabTech a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he made a trophy for a race that Mike Finnegan ended up winning. So they kind of crossed paths there. And I think they know each other from the internet.
Yeah. Connection with like Miller.
Yep. Miller Electric.
Yeah.
Those famous welding machine manufacturers.
Yeah.
Tastes great and less filling. Miller Electric. So I mean, a lot of talk about boats, hot rods,
building things,
rototiller machines. I don't know if we even covered that in the conversation. I was chatting with him before about all the weird articles he wrote for Motor Trend back in the day, or Hot Rod magazine.
You'll have to stay tuned and find out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in addition to all the conversation about motor-powered vehicles and boats, we had an opportunity to watch two experts learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a special moment when that happens. I'm sure you'll appreciate the moment, and I highly recommend this episode with Mike Finnegan, Finnegan's Garage, and Tom Patsis of Cold Heart Art.
Cold Hard Art.
I just want to say it. Cold Hard Art.
What is it? Heart.
Oh, it's hard.
Hard.
Cold Hard. Oh, sorry. Cold Hard Art. Luckily, we don't need to edit this. Thank you. Enjoy.
Ready to elevate your leadership skills? Join us at FMA's annual meeting in Chandler, Arizona from February 25th to the 27th. This premier event unites top industry leaders to share insights, tackle business challenges, and forge meaningful connections. Gain invaluable knowledge and build a network that empowers you to lead with confidence and clarity. Visit fmamfg.org to learn more and secure your spot today. It's that time of year again. Time for all students pursuing a manufacturing-related degree in a 2- or 4-year program to apply for a scholarship from FMA's foundation, SparkForce. Eligible students can receive up to $3,500 per year for their program. Applications for fall 2025 are being accepted until March 31st. Get all the details and apply today at fmamfg.org.
Welcome back. Dan Davis from the Fabricator Magazine. Got a really nice episode of the Fabricator Podcast here at PRI in Indianapolis. Today's guest, Mike Finnegan. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
You might be, I think, probably the biggest celebrity. I know you don't like hearing that.
Other than just Dan.
Yeah.
You're really not very tall. Like, thank you. I appreciate it.
But folks know him from his time with Hot Rod as well as Roadkill on YouTube. Now he's kind of doing his own thing we'll get into. But also my co-host today, friend of the show, Tom Patsis. Hey, Tom.
How you doing?
We had him on during Fab Tech last year.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So good friends of our friend Josh Welton and Brown Dog Garage. So Brown Dog Welding, sorry. I'm here at PRI and all of a sudden everybody gets a garage in their name. Thanks for joining us, Tom. You know Tom a little bit, Mike?
I do.
Tom probably is well known for making trophies for folks, not just like QVC or anything, but actually like he didn't have a Christmas special. But go ahead and kind of tell about what you do and maybe how you know Mike, Tom.
I know Mike via him winning one of my trophies from, I think when you raced one of the guys from Hoonigan.
Yeah.
And the loser had to shave his beard. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, it was a good day.
You have a nice
For me, not for the other guy.
Yeah.
Was that a major like motivator for you not to shave that beard?
Oh, yeah. My wife, she would have left me because there's 2 or 3 chins up this beard. So I couldn't lose and come home.
Yeah.
She'd have been like, nah, I'll see you in a month when it grows back, But yeah, I met Thomas. Like most things these days, I knew him from Instagram. Like he's infamous on Instagram for his artwork and the trophies. And I kind of knew you from drag racing. And then I won the coolest trophy I've ever gotten. It's still in my garage. It's above my bolt rack. I see it every day of my life because I grudge raced a guy named Jon Chase from the Hoonigans at the Winter Nationals. I think it was the Winter Nationals. And the loser got their beard shaved by Goldberg. Goldberg held him down while I took clippers to this poor guy's beard. And he and I become good friends through this whole thing. Like Jon Chase, I love him. And I felt bad for him because his kids had never seen him with a beard or without it. And it was really long. It was down to here, right?
Oh, wow.
So he gets shaved off. We go back to the pits. His daughter's in tears because she does not know who this dude is. He's trying to give her a hug, Like it was
While
wild.
Goldberg is holding her dad down.
Yeah. He might have a little PTSD from that, Like there was
He had more to lose beard wise.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Like I don't want to say that was his image or his persona, but that's what he looked like. Like he did not look like the same dude after the
That's
beard
gonna be
came
my
off.
favorite phrase of the day. He had more to lose beard-wise.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if that's a measurement in racing, but we can talk about that later. You've done work that people know you for well, but now you're kind of entering a new part of your career. Can you give people who may not know, particularly our Fabricator audience, maybe who are not as much full-time into racing,
Sure.
how do you get involved with what you're doing or what you've done and what you're doing now?
Oh, how much time you got? You want the whole
We
thing?
Let's see.
Exactly 45
We're going to set a buzzer for 5 minutes. No.
Well, the long and short of it was I grew up loving cars, thanks to television. Shows like the Dukes of Hazzard, the A-Team, Knight Rider, like shows where the car was a character. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so as a kid, I just started with remote control cars.
Yeah.
They taught me the basics of how a suspension worked and how to go around corners and how to break stuff and fix stuff. And then my dad, I don't think he ever owned a used car. He wasn't a car guy. So I was a huge disappointment to him every time I stained his driveway or lost his tools, But I loved it so much that as a kid, I played traveling soccer for like 11 years. I quit all of it to get a job bagging groceries so I could save the money to get my first car.
Yeah.
And it just ruined my life from there. Like every dime went into the car, every hour, every waking moment. I was a terrible student in school. Don't do this if you're watching. This is a bad idea, But somewhere along the line, I discovered my passion for writing. And I got a job at a magazine. And once that happened, then my dad kind of looked at me a little different. And he's like, all right, all the lost tools and the stained driveways, like, it wasn't a total waste.
Yeah.
And the great thing about working in a magazine is I was the new guy. And so my job was to go to shops and document what other people were doing. So I learned stuff that I never would have learned on my own, because I'm not trained in fabricating at all.
Right.
I've never been to a trade school. I have 2 years of high school auto shop. That's it. But because I didn't have any money, there's no money in the magazine world. I would just buy tools, go home and screw shit up in my garage.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned to weld, and that's how I learned to fabricate. And then the internet just, working in a magazine for years taught me a lot from all these shops I went to, but the internet is really what got me going because of guys like, I don't even know his name, but like 6061.com. You guys ever been to that website?
No.
It's a website where a guy he doesn't even talk. It's just videos of him TIG welding aluminum. And that's how I learned to TIG weld aluminum, was watching that guy.
Wow.
That website still exists.
It does.
Yeah. I know it doesn't look like they've changed it since like 1999.
Yeah. Oh, it's a horrible looking website, but you give this dude some money and it unlocks certain parts of it, and you will learn so much from a video with no one talking on it about how to set up your tungsten, how to set up your machine. That's literally how I learned to TIG weld aluminum. And then I learned how to TIG weld stainless from Michael Furick from Dog Fat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he came to my house because now I have a YouTube show. So I go in my garage and I build stuff the best I can, which is, not really good enough. And I can get people to come in there sometimes and show me the right way to do stuff. Like I've had Miller welders in my garage. I've had their rep in there teach me how to do things like stupid stuff. I had a machine wired wrong. It was wired for 3-phase and I didn't have 3-phase. And I was welding with it like that for over a year and didn't know. And this guy came in and he tried to use my welder and he's like, well, it's working, but it's not great. And then he opens it up and says, well, you're an idiot. Here's why. And so I've been fortunate to just have other people to watch throughout my career so that I get to soak up info. And, today I'm fairly capable, but I'm not a professional.
Right. But I mean, some people will say that's kind of the best way to do it, is kind of do it and learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
As opposed to like doing it on someone else's dime, which is not the way you want to run a business.
Yeah. Like I don't remember a lot of the wins.
Yeah.
I remember that one because I have your trophy, but I have friends, like my friend Joe's here. I've forgotten races we've won. Like I love drag racing, I love draglet racing. I've literally forgotten events we've won. He'll remind me of it, but I'll remember for the rest of my life when we didn't have all the spark plugs in the motor. I tried to go down the track, or we left the scoop plug in the scoop, tried to go down the track. Those lessons stick with you,
Yeah. So what are you doing? Like Finnegan's Garage, kind of your main outlet now?
Yeah. I'm not recording TV shows right now. And so about 8 years ago, I launched a YouTube channel called Finnegan's Garage so that I could just have my own voice, my own outlet.
Right.
And now I'm a full-time YouTuber and it's super fun. I just wake up every day and go, well, what can we do?
Right.
And I can't fire myself. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's the thing now, we just go on adventures and then go back in the garage and rinse on things and, have fun.
Yeah. What type of programming do you think will kind of fill your schedule?
Well, I'm a dad. I have 2 kids, so I have a lot of wrestling practices and basketball practices. And now that I'm home more and not traveling to film TV shows, that's the main thing. And then we just fit in how to film a YouTube show in my garage around that. And so Monday through Friday, Joe and I are probably in the garage building something, and then about every other week we'll leave the garage just so we don't go insane. And we'll go pull a car out of a field or something and get it running, or, go racing or track something down. And so it's a mix of everything I've enjoyed in my career just on YouTube now.
Yeah. Tom, when you speaking about welding, did you have a similar learning process in terms of, what am I trying to say? Helping add to your schooling that you may have had? Formally?
Well, my initial introduction to welding was I went to the University of Northwestern Ohio and had a 6-week class in 2001, probably the last time I had that. And then I didn't really ever think of it as a tool that I would use every day.
Yeah.
So I did have the proper training. And then luckily I got into Schumacher racing and started building race cars and learning how to do stuff, the really, really right way. Because I hate to say this, but a lot of metal artists just learn kind of like you should say, and just just practicing, but then they're not really taught. Like you're working for a year with the wrong polarity setup on
You
it.
pick up bad habits.
Yeah,
too,
and
you
you
know?
get bad habits, and then you get into a job where you need to. Oh, I'm a welder. Okay, and they set you on something, and you weld something wrong, and it hurt somebody. Well, at least luckily, I was lucky that I got the proper training. So then, when I got into the fab shop, I did work with really amazing people to perfect it. So it's like, I can't spell. I couldn't write anything like him. So we're almost like a perfect team. You can spell some words, and maybe I can write put some welds down. But it's I guess I had the proper training right off the bat, so I don't have any bad habits and stuff like that. But I could probably wire something backwards too. Right?
I think that's what's great about the industry is that you can find your way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no set path.
No, but if you can, like, I'm jealous of what you did, because it took me so much longer to get competent at welding, having no base for it. Bad habits immediately, like the wind's blowing. Why does my puddle look like crap?
Yeah.
Oh, the wind's blowing. I'm outside. That stuff if you don't learn that in the beginning, you just make these mistakes over and over again until somebody like Tom or, anyone sees you doing it. The comment section on YouTube's excellent, because when I screw up, they will tell me.
Super humbling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you gotta have thick skin, bro.
Right.
Absolutely. But yeah, like I don't know anything about building houses, and I was replacing the wood bed floor in my ramp truck once, and I had a circular saw I borrowed from my neighbor, and I bought some lumber, and I'm cutting it, and it's kicking back every time. And this is all in a YouTube video, and the comment section just lit me up for going the wrong direction. And the motor side goes on this side, it's heavier, it'll make the wood fall down, and it won't kick back. I don't know that, so I learned from the audience almost every time.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
So
I just learned something from that.
You just learned something.
Yeah, no idea about wood.
Right? Yeah.
Wood and metal is two separate things.
Yeah.
Even though it's a material that you cut, weld, drill holes in, or whatever. But yeah, I just learned something too, because I do that, and I don't have a wood router in my shop because it did what you did, but almost at me.
Yeah.
Right.
And the day that I used the router and shot it that way, I just put the cord back in, and I gave it to a best friend. No routed edges on my trophy bases at all. So we're good.
Did you find yourself getting better
Like you said,
at woodworking?
No, I hate wood. I hate wood. It's just squares and rectangles.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else.
Well, they make I don't know if you've ever seen it, but on Amazon they make this palm-sized kind of hand router that you can take and run down the edge of any sharp edge, and it knocks it off, and it looks like it's been CNC'd. And it was $40, and it's the best thing I've ever bought off Amazon.
I'm learning in a second. This is amazing.
I was the same way as you. Like,
Yeah, I'm not here to do anything but learn. Get the best seat looking at him and looking at this stuff.
But you've had the opportunity to learn over your career as well. I mean, your job allowed you to talk with various people. We were talking about types of racing we never knew existed. Roadkill was one of them. I mean, what stands out during your career up to this point as like some of the either crazy, most memorable kind of things you've seen?
Oh, that was a good one. In terms of learning something that applies to this show, I woke up one day and I was like, can we leaf blower supercharge a car? And I didn't know the answer to it. So I was like, can we try this? And nobody said no. And so we bought a Chevy Monza in Youngstown, Ohio, I think. Then we took it to Pennsylvania to meet NHRA drag racer Jeff Lutz, who is a really good fabricator. And together we put 5 gas-powered leaf blowers under the hatch of this thing, TIG welded a bunch of aluminum tubing. And he taught me really the beginnings of how to weld aluminum tubing on that car. And we plumbed 5 leaf blowers together, went to a land speed racing event, and broke a record in that car. And it does work. It for the record, if you're wondering, 5 gas-powered leaf blowers on a small block Chevy makes 0.3 pounds of boost and about 29 horsepower. You'll spend all the money. It's not worth it. But damn, does it look cool.
Yeah.
You go to the starting line, you open the hatch, and 5 people have to all rip the cords at once, because if you do them one at a time, the first one makes the other one spin backwards. They're all plumbed together, We had a ball valve, like a Home Depot plumbing ball valve on the charge tube by the driver's seat. So you get them fired up, take off, and then close the ball valve, and then lean back like you're in Fast and Furious. That sticks out.
What happened to that car?
Jeff Lutz still has that car, and occasionally he brings it out to car shows. You can still see it. Yeah, we've talked about bringing it back and adding a 6th leaf blower, because I feel like that's the magic number. We went with 5 because that's all they had at Lowe's that day.
Yeah,
but I feel like 6 is the number.
Can I ask what brand leaf blower?
It might have been a husky. There might have been pretty decent ones. You know,
There you go.
I got the video up here. I can't make out the leaf blower brand.
we named them all too. It's great. Like there's a little tidbit of info for people at home. If you look close, every leaf blower has got the name of a blowhard we know in real life. Like there's a race promoter in there. There's a guy we used to race with in there. Like there's names on all of them for people who are just loud.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So it is a kind of a close community.
Yeah.
You know people. We saw you interacting with people, just recognizing you, which makes sense. When you come to a show like this, you're kind of talking beforehand how much you enjoy. You get to have conversations.
Yeah.
What did you see yesterday? I thought that was pretty. The talk of the leaf blower kind of reminded me of this.
Oh,
That
yeah.
really caught your eye.
There's a big block Chevy here in Chevy, Colorado. I think it's a Colorado that is running on compressed air. It used to be turboed. The guy switched it to compressed air. His name is David Pierce. He and his wife, Tina Pierce, campaigned this truck. And it runs on compressed air, and it's awesome, and it's fast, and I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing I've seen of the show so far. You know, it's over in the Crowder Cams booth if anyone's here. Like it's sick.
Yeah, and the compressed air, the sources are scuba tanks.
Yeah, well, they're carbon fiber. You know, they're probably not commercial scuba tanks,
Oh,
but
I got
something
you. Okay,
similar.
yeah.
But it's 3 bottles. The air comes out at 3,300 psi, and it's very cold. And then they have a regulator that knocks it down, I think, to about 40 pounds is what they're running in that motor. And then up front, it's EFI. You have a throttle body that's controlling everything. But there's a valve on the inlet side of that throttle body. And when it's open, the engine's breathing the atmosphere. But Tina drives it. She goes up to the starting line, puts her foot to the floor. The 2-step turns on. The EFI shuts that valve and then opens the regulator. And it's just breathing compressed air out of bottles. It's not breathing the atmosphere.
That's unbelievable.
It's cool. It's very cool.
Have you heard it run?
No, they have a video of it going
Okay.
there, but I've not seen it in person.
Yeah.
But it runs 460s, they say, in the 8th, which is, I mean, that's a low 7, high 6-second pass. Like it's fast.
Wow.
You know?
That just the ingenuity involved in this industry has to kind of like, you're never at a loss for learning something, going back to that kind of point.
Never. Yeah, every day, like I'm in school every day. It's usually on YouTube, but every day before I go to bed, I'll watch a YouTube video about someone doing something better than I can.
Yeah.
Or that I don't even know how to do, just so that I can feel like I've learned something today.
Yeah.
And it's great, especially coming here. If you come here and you really pay attention and walk around, you're going to see stuff you've never seen anywhere.
Yeah.
What's the most recent thing that you've learned, just not today, but just like recently working in your shop, watching stuff on YouTube?
Let's see. Well, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
What have I learned recently? I can ruin any drill bit except those KN cut drill bits. I learned that. Those things. So after befriending you and getting one of your trophies, someone asked me to build trophies out of titanium. It was a nightmare.
Mhm.
I ruined so many drill bits trying to put holes.
Yeah,
in
you
those
get
drill-
one shot at that stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was something I learned recently, is how to drill through titanium. And those cane cut builds, not to pimp them out. They're not paying me to say that. They're just outstanding. You know?
Yeah.
It's like having a drill bit with a step drill bit built into every drill bit you have in your drill index. And they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
They last forever. They're great. So
Where'd you learn titanium welding?
Been working in John Schumacher Racing, building the structures underneath the funny car and all the little trinkets that they have on there. And again, those have to be perfect or people die. You know, kind of thing.
Right.
So last thing you want to do is the body to collapse and steer the car into the wall or
Negative.
God knows. So yeah, it's just basically the joke is it's chrome or go home. You know, like it has to be perfect and we have just run these really big cups because I know some people think everything has to be in these fish
bubble.
tank,
yeah.
full argon chambers. But if you weld really, really slow and have patience and don't put a lot of heat into the material and have these huge heat affected zones, you know, our tie lasts, you know, forever. And it's got 5,000 pounds of downforce on these little 5/8 tubes that are thin wall, you know, and it's huge structure underneath the car that no one will ever see until the car body is, 20 feet up in the air, on fire. So that's where I've learned how to do titanium.
So I just learned something new because I just assumed you had to do it in a bubble on something that structural.
As long as you have like a very big cup, like a Furic cup or whatever, have a lot of argon flow, and you just like every 3 puddles, just kind of chill and you just can't have any color. You know, you see those Supercross exhausts with all titanium with a 400 You know,
Purple.
little pie cuts on them. They're all chrome and all these weird, or not chrome, but all these different colors. It's not actually really good. That's why they have to weld on those all the time, is because the heat gets to a certain point, and it's like any kind of material. All the stuff in the atmosphere, it just destroys the material, and it just fractures like perforations in toilet paper. You know, it's just asking for it. So it's just everything has to be just weld slow. It doesn't have to be in a giant thing. I mean, I know people that are building stuff for planes have to go that extra step.
Right.
Right. But you know, drag racing is a dangerous sport, and you just kind of we do it the way we do it, and it works.
Yeah.
And you know, everything's proven.
So titanium's not cheap. Where did you kind of get this time and material to work on?
Well, when you're at
You
a
gotta
top
learn
field
somewhere,
team
right?
that has massive budgets, and the only goal is to win.
Yeah.
You know, and drag racing, you're only spending money. You're not really making any money. It's just you know, win. So it's we have a lot of titanium. I have a couple friends that sell titanium, so that works out for me at home via.
He's got a dealer.
Yeah, you always gotta have a sponsor for everything,
There you
right?
go.
So
Does it move around like stainless?
it's like everything. As soon as you tack, that's why you gotta lightly tack everything around, but you also gotta lightly tack everything around, because obviously you don't want to have to. You got that perfect fitment, and then you got, even if it's a teeny bead, you know, it requires more heat to get up and over, and then you also don't want to have that gap underneath the tack or anything. Like, it's just a very slow process. It probably takes twice as long to weld anything titanium compared to like chromoly or mild steel. So it's just you actually just have to tell yourself, just chill, go slow, you know, and just even weld something over here and have another fixture over here and weld that. I mean, you almost want it like dead cold, because you don't want any color even on outside the weld, because that's where it's going to fracture. So it's just
I'm so impatient. That would
great
be
place to learn. Trying to just 30 miles an hour. So
Yeah.
you know.
So you're talking about aerospace. So one of the interesting things I find interesting is like, you're not just like interested in land-based, soil-based when it comes to rototilling, but also kind of the marine stuff too.
Yeah.
Is that like, what's the kind of connection commonalities between the two worlds of like racing?
Well, you can hot rod anything.
Yeah.
And so people in the late 50s, early 60s were, you know, they were hot rodding boats too in Southern California, and they started racing them. First they were doing slalom races and around courses, and then they got into straight up drag racing in a straight line.
Okay.
And drag boats today are real similar to cars. They're car engines. There's really not a lot of marine parts on those motors. So pretty much anything in here that's in a car, I can stick in the boat and go fast.
Yeah.
And it's just, I grew up with it, and it just is a different sensation not having a roof or a roll cage or seat belts.
Oh, wow.
And so a car that's 150 feels very similar to a boat going 70. Like 70 in a boat,
Right.
you know, when you're first getting into it, feels freaking fast.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, it was the only way I could go. I love motors. It was the only way I could build a motor that was way too powerful for anything I owned car wise.
Yeah.
But I could stick it in a boat and go to a lake where there's no rules,
Right.
and find out what it did. And so I've built like big block spread port nitrous motors that make 1,500, stuck them in a boat, and just, you know, went out to my local lake. My neighbors love me. I have a neighbor that she's wonderful. It's Cindy Behrman, if you're listening, calling you out. She one day she called me and she's like, "Hey, if you could not run the boat on Friday from 11 to 12, that would be great, because I have a Zoom conference and it shakes the windows in my house." And that was the moment where I'm like, I've done it. I've done something. I made something, you know.
I love that she's able to like accept your racing love, but feels confident enough to reach out and say like, "Can you just postpone it for a little bit?"
Oh yeah,
that's
we're
good.
cool.
That's a
I
good
have
neighbor.
great neighbors.
Yeah,
absolutely,
that's
great
awesome.
neighbors. I butter them up. We have a lot of parties at my house. I make sure there's a lot of liquor for them. You know, a lot of cookies, whatever they need to accept my lifestyle. You know, of making a lot of noise.
So it's kind of interesting, you know, in terms of like the aerodynamic nature of like boats. Man, you know, I've
Super
seen.
dumb.
Yeah, man.
Super
When
dumb.
a wipeout is like totally different from as you say, totally exposed for the driver.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, and plus, if you've been in a boat, you feel that moment, like where you're like in between. You're almost there, but you're not quite.
Yeah.
Is that where you get on your lake with some of these experiments?
I mean, not if my wife's watching. No, I never do that. Never. But yeah, you like, the whole goal of the drag boat is to get as much of the hull out of the water so it's efficient.
Yeah.
But if you lose that connection to the water, that surface tension, then does a backflip and you're getting wet and you're probably not coming home. It's a really bad sport. I don't recommend it. But finding that edge all the time is, I don't do drugs, but it's got to be better than any drug I've ever, could potentially try.
Man, I think some people like actually kind of like follow that line of thinking.
Yeah, like it's super like that. They accelerate so hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I have a better feel for that edge in a boat than I do a car. I love drag racing cars, but I feel like I don't have a sense of when it's going to go wrong in my car like I do in the boat.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because the consequences are higher in the boat, so I'm more aware of it. But I don't know. I think I'm better in a boat than I am in a car.
Yeah. So they're doing this out in California, like, as part of your, life out there. Are they doing these on lakes?
Yeah.
Is that primarily, I guess, they want to be out in the...
Yeah, you want to be on a lake. You want to have, as much control of the surface of the water as you can. If it's windy, the boat racing stops,
Right.
There's man-made lakes across the country for drag boat racing. Lucas Oil has one in Wheatland, Missouri.
Oh, cute.
Man. Bakersfield, California, Lake Ming, that was constructed for drag boat racing in the 60s. It's a small sport. If you go do a drag boat racing and there's 100 boats there, that's a big deal. That's a national event, But most of them, probably 50 or 60 boats, the guys are racing for nothing.
Right.
They're just doing it because, they got egos and it's competitive and it's fun. But it's worse than car racing. That adage, you want to make $1 million in drag racing, start with 10. Oh, it's worse than a drag boat. Because even when you win, you've lost. There's no money. You're not even getting your entry fee back at a lot of these things.
Have you ever done a trophy for a drag boat race?
No, but I do have a boat story that how you have a customer that you just never want to do business with? Well, I had an Australian guy that we built.
Name names.
We built one of the,
Crocodile Dundee.
What's the boat series where they're going through the insane
the sprint boat stuff.
Yeah, and we built one for that guy in Australia, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I built it. It was beautiful. And it was a mailbox. And I even made it to the point of it's getting shipped to Australia. So I'm going to make it where the pole, he wanted to pull with it, made everything bolt down so it was in the smallest box possible. And he paid, I don't even remember how X amount of dollars for it. But when I told him it was $200, the cheapest of all the shipments that I could send him, he goes, I don't want to pay that. And I'm like, what? And it's like, you already paid for the thing and he was going to pay for the shipping. And it was like, all right, what do you want to do? What do you want? He's like, well, I'm not going to pay the shipping. I'm like, I made it as small as I could do. So I had this hate for things with boats. Like, so in my mind, and I'd keep being like, what do you want to do? And he just wouldn't answer. He gave up on it. I'm like, I'm not giving you your money back because I built it and you don't want it, So then I was going to crush it and mail it to him, right? I was going to crush it into a smaller box.
You're that guy.
And ironically, probably a year and a half later, another Australian friend that we actually like comes over and he's staying with somebody because he's a sprint car racer. So he's staying in someone's house where he goes, I want to get these American family a gift. What do you have? And I was like, I got a boat. And he goes, oh, he loves boats. And I'm like, here. And I just took it off the mailbox and mounted it on a block of wood. And it was like, wow, if I had crushed that, I wouldn't have had anything for him. So I hate boats. That's the only thing that boat related I've ever done.
Okay, so I don't know that it's just boat people because like literally the other day, a nitrous company, I don't want to name names, put a photo of a rack of intake manifolds of things people have sent in, the work's done, and they just ghost them. They don't pick it up, and those are car people, bro. All right.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's maybe they're just bobbing in the water too much or something. But
well, I mean,
just a different.
What time of year was it? Because it's the holidays. I know a lot of people that will drop their car off or their boat off at a shop and then disappear until after the holidays are over when they get money back in their pocket.
Can you do the mechanics lien on it and own a boat after 30 days? Does that go for boats too?
Sure, why not?
That'd be nice. That'd be a nice way to get a boat.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'll give you some advice. Go for it.
I love that we have something to look into.
Yeah.
Boat link.
And they come with racers. They come with their own trailer.
I
bought a boat with no trailer, which is about the dumbest thing one can do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It was thrown in with the house purchase. It's not like state government won't figure out you got a boat. Like they find out once you like registered or whatever, they come and knock it on their tax. So yeah, you just can't. That's my lesson for everybody today. You can't give away a boat as an enticement for someone to buy your home.
You can lose one though.
Right. Yeah, right. You're gonna end up paying for it somewhere or another. So what's your home garage setup like?
I'm spoiled. It's 3 bays. It's
wow. So,
On the tube.
so I imagine
It's a basement under the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's 3 bays, and you could fit 5 cars in there if you wanted to, but I got a lot of tools, so we don't.
Yeah.
But I have a mill, a small lathe, couple of welders. There's no lifts because it's a basement, you know.
Yeah.
So when we pull a trans, Joe gets angry because I make him do it a lot of times. But it's basically a home garage under the house that we can do most things I need to do. It's rare that we send stuff out to get done because I like learning it. I like doing it. Especially with the boat stuff. Like I don't drive other people's stuff just in general, but I've had people ask me, will you drive my boat? And I'm like, no way. If one wire falls off that motor or it kicks the rods out or anything, like you're going swimming, you know, and water hurts at 140.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, we're spoiled in that garage. It's awesome.
So, boat engine, you have kind of on a cart of some sort? I mean, how are you kind of transporting that in and out of your garage?
The boat sits on a dolly trailer with golf cart tires.
Oh, so you bring the whole boat in?
Yeah, we bring the whole boat in there and work on it.
Yeah.
Because boats, I mean, we just keep talking about boats. I'm sorry. They're easier to work on than cars. They're so easy to work on. They're very basic. You just lean right over the side and change the spark plugs. There's no hood in the way, you know.
Yeah.
But
about your home garage, I understand. Gareth reminded me. You seem to be pretty fastidious about like how things are organized.
I'm the worst there is.
Yeah.
You got a certain belief in terms of like how your shop should be organized, right?
You got like a lot of little parts that you have to keep.
Yeah. I'm gonna just keep it clean on here, but I like to build like some other tacked-in countries. I just build straight up. So like I have connecting rods out of diesel trucks, and if you put those in buckets, it takes up half of this area. But if you build 2 rods going all the way up with a heavy base, you can stick them on top of each other. I have to build up because my shop is just long, and obviously when you're renting a shop, you only all this free space up here you have to use unless you can hang something. But everything is just stacked. So I'm pretty good at. I'm pretty messy. Look, if you came to my shop, you'd just be like overwhelmed by the color and things with funny car bodies on the wall and just junk in buckets everywhere, and every bucket is Lowe's blue because obviously I just love blue. But this is me doing a dad joke. I had to spark a question. What kind of welders do you have in your shop, in your place? What's in your shop?
I have Miller welders, MIG and TIG, Miller welders.
It's like I didn't know that question. I just had to ask it. But what specific type of machines do you have? I
have a 220 ACDC, which is a MIG TIG stick machine. I never stick. I don't even know how to stick weld. And I don't anticipate building a bridge or anything anytime soon, so I don't.
You can do it for that friend that doesn't have a trailer for his boat.
Yeah. Got you. I have a Dynasty 400DX, which is just way too nice for me. Like it's a Ferrari. Every now and again, my buddy Andy, who works at Miller and he hosts a YouTube show, he'll come over and show me something I didn't know and didn't bother to learn. And then I'm like, oh, this thing's even better than I thought it was, Yeah. So super spoiled by that. But those are the 2 welders. Like that 220 ACDC, I drag it around the shop because I can MIG and TIG with it, and I can tack stuff over here. And then I'll take the part to the bench where the Dynasty's at and sit down and, try to make nice welds, some days.
Yeah. Yes. Do you work with other people in your garage, or is it pretty much kind of you and your close partners?
Yeah, it's just right now it's just me and Joe. Joe's nobody can see Joe. I keep talking about him, but I've known Joe for like 20 years.
I can verify he's here.
Yeah, I know him for like 20 years. He's one of my best friends. But in general, we keep the doors shut because we get, thanks to having TV shows over the years, we get people that come to the house a lot. All the time, almost every day. And 9 times out of 10, they're great. Yeah. But it's hard to get anything done if the garage is open because they'll just stroll in there. You'd be laying under a car, just sense evil and see a pair of feet out there. And you're like, wait a minute. I'm kidding about the evil. They're not evil. Whoever, you especially, you're not evil.
Let me answer.
Please don't kill me.
You have to work on your face. My wife, because we have people that come in, I don't like the door down because it feels like you're in a dungeon. But always keep it up. So when people come in and you're in the zone working, especially you guys are filming stuff. But Amanda says, you need to work on your face better because when a car pulls up and I'm like, I'm like they can see your face. And like, I have the worst poker face. And I'm like, And Amanda says, you're making these people hate you because they think they are a burden. But like when people come over and you're in the zone, you want to get stuff done. But I can imagine when you're having to go cut, You know, me, it's just me working, but you guys got something going on. You're like,
Well,
how do you try to explain
so
it
in the
to
age
them,
of celebrity, at one time the celebrities actually lived behind like iron gates and everything.
Yeah.
And now with
Yeah, I don't know.
YouTube, like everybody feels like they know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that ability to separate, and for you, like it's a closed garage door, for Tom, it's just open for everybody.
Yeah, I know it is. It's weird.
I imagine that can be a little trying at times.
Well, it's really not because I get it, because I feel like I knew Thomas way before I ever met him, thanks to Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I get that everyone feels closer today. So when, like walking around here, when I meet people, I'm glad to have met them. It's really fun to hear their stories, and it makes you feel like you're doing something worthwhile. But when they come to the house, my first thing is all right, keep my kids safe.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to you all day at my house, but the garage door is gonna be shut behind me. We're gonna be in the street,
Right.
and, just in case.
Yeah. When you come to a show here, you mentioned like yesterday, you actually had some time.
Yeah.
Is it work out that way for you most of the time, where you actually can not just meet people to meet people, but actually learn about what they do?
Oh yeah. Whenever I come here, I'm usually coming here to figure out a way to fix my broken Hemi again. So I'm coming here for valve train knowledge, piston knowledge, whatever I can learn from somebody. And then just to see new things. Like the air compressor in my garage, I bought off the show floor here.
Oh, wow.
Like 5 years ago. And so I'm always on a mission when I come here. Just whatever I can learn, however I can make whatever we're doing a little better. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Is there a shopping list for this year?
Yeah. Yeah. A guy named Matt Walter on Facebook pointed out to me after the last event we did with my car. We were jacking it up in the pits to adjust the clutch, and it's a time-consuming, pain-in-the-butt process. And he messaged me and said, "Why don't you buy these race ramps and just drive the car up on them and then adjust the clutch instead of jacking it up?" And I went, "That's a lot safer. Why don't I do that?" So I'm here today to see if they're cutting deals on the last day for stuff they don't want to take home. And I'll buy these race ramps.
That's good. You shopping, Tom?
No, I actually am not.
Oh.
I'm doing pretty good. Like, people are trying to get me to go to this Ganassi yard sale for body work. And I'm like, I'm trying to get rid of body work out of my, you only have so much wall space. I go, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Amanda's currently shaking her head.
Yeah, she's like, I'm trying to fight the urge to buy more dumb stuff that's useful. Useful. An IndyCar nose to hang on the walls. Just no, it doesn't need to be happening. So.
But it's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have wall space for it?
No, I don't. But luckily I would sell something to buy something, but I don't want to do that. So fight the urge. Yeah.
There you go.
The urge is the thing, man. That's the hardest thing, because
Keeping
it's
up
all
with the
cool
Joneses,
looking.
yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's a Pinto. There's a Pinto here. I fell in love with it. It was great.
Yeah.
But if you don't have space for it, what are you going to do?
Yeah. You see like a lot of stuff. You're like, wow, they did that to that. And you're like, that's pretty cool.
Every day of my life, like, I'll go on Bring a Trailer and look at stuff I shouldn't look at all.
That's funny.
I'm bad. Like, I bought a car once. How much time do we have? It's a little bit long story, but it's pretty funny. I once posted a text exchange between my wife and I on the internet because it just struck me as funny. And she's Italian, and I'm afraid of her, but she's got a good sense of humor. And because I had bought a car off Ring a Trailer for my wife, like a little Honda CRX, like very cheap. I love her. She just want diamonds. She wanted a Honda CRX.
Yeah.
Like, sick. So I bought it.
So what year?
86.
Okay.
Gen 1.
All right.
And it was coming to the house, as usual, while I'm out of town. And so she's expecting this Honda to show up, right? And while I'm out of town, she starts texting me. She's like, "There's somebody in the driveway with a trailer. They just left. And then they came back 2 days later. And I forgot to tell her I had bought another car." And so she's expecting her a Honda, and this tube chassis race car shows up at 5 a.m, wakes up the whole house. Dogs are barking. It's not her Honda. And so she's texting me. She's like, "This car's way too nice for you. It can't be yours. It's not my Honda. What is going on?" And then that was when I had to tell her, "Oh yeah, baby, I'm sorry. I'm in Louisiana. I bought a car. I'll explain it when I get home." And I don't have enough room.
What's your current status in terms of like vehicles?
I don't know.
And I honestly think I believe that.
I don't know. I mean, most of them, like, I don't have a lot of expensive. I have, crappy ones. There's probably 15.
Do you have a place like outside your home?
I rent a warehouse so that you can
right,
park
that
in the
makes
garage when it's cold out. Like we have when we got married, I had a deal on me. You will never park in the garage, baby. I love you. Buy as many shoes as you want. You can have the entire closet. You don't get the garage. But when we moved to Georgia, it's freezing in the winter. Like it's in the 20s. Which if you're in Minnesota, it's not cold.
California. That's what made me think. Okay, yeah.
We came from California, so 20 degrees is cold, and so. The one thing I do for her is in the winter, she gets one space in the garage. And during the summer, when I leave town, she'll push my boat outside and park in the garage while I'm gone, thinking I won't notice, which is fun for me.
Yeah, I like that she does wait till you're gone, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
She's smarter than I am.
Good relationship.
Yeah.
So how's the transition been to Georgia?
I love it.
Yeah.
I won't go back to California.
Yeah.
No, other than the tacos and my friends, I don't miss it.
Right.
And I get back there pretty often for
right?
work. But enough to go. Yeah, I love Georgia.
Yeah,
Georgia's great.
Yeah, northern Georgia, I imagine if you're just getting out of 20, right?
Yeah. It was like it's weird weather. It was 60 degrees last week. It's 25 or 30 there now. Which takes some getting used to.
So are you on the road as much?
No, right now that I'm not. The TV show ended, so now I'm full-time YouTuber in my home garage. And
so it's kind of what you were looking for, I'd imagine.
It was one of the things where when it happened, it was a surprise. Hey, you lost your job. But then I was like, well, wait, I got wrestling practice and basketball practice. And now I can go to all that stuff for my kids. So I'm cool with it,
Yeah.
Plus YouTube's a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
You get the interaction that you've always gotten?
More because so when your TV show is behind a paywall, fewer people see it. Or when it's on a cable channel, there's no comment section. So now when I drop a YouTube video, I get to talk to the audience directly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll put a video up every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and I'll sit there for like the first half hour and I'll read the comments and I'll talk to people. And then I'll check back in later. And like I said, I learn from the audience constantly. So it's cool.
Right. Do you miss out, or do you still have the ability to kind of get out and mix it up with a lot of other people? You don't feel like you're missing out on that?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So taking it back from the start, you started out as a journalist, right?
Yeah.
What was that first job that you had? What was the magazine that you worked for?
It was the best job ever. I worked for Mini Trucking Magazine.
Yeah.
Straight out of college. Yeah.
How'd you get that job? Was it reference or?
So I didn't, it was never a goal to be a journalist or get on TV or do any of these things.
Right.
I was at a truck show with a friend who had a shop and we were there with his customers' vehicles and I saw a guy walking around. His name was Courtney Hallowell and he had a camera and I asked him what he was doing. And he says, well, it's my job to go to car shows. I take these pictures, I go home, I write a story and that's my job. And I went, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. I didn't even know that existed. And so we corresponded through email and he told me what college classes to take in community college, photography and creative writing. And then he left that magazine. And when I graduated college, the guy that replaced him left the magazine the week I skidded into town with my mini truck. And I just walked through the door and there was no one working there. And so the editor hired me, and it just grew from there. I went from Mini Trucking Magazine to Off-Road Magazine because I got into desert racing. I loved desert trucks and long travel suspensions. And then I went to Hot Boat Magazine, got to learn about drag boats and then Sport Truck Magazine. So I didn't work anywhere longer than probably 2 years because I would learn what I thought I could and then I'd move and do something else, try to learn more.
And that was just pure desire to learn more. Right?
Yeah. Like I worked with a lot of people who were like stellar photographers and really good writers, and they would invest in camera gear or a computer. I bought tools because I wanted to be hanging out with the people that were building the stuff. Right. Like my heroes are guys that race, that they build the cars, tune the cars, drive the cars, which is kind of a rare thing. But when you meet someone like that, they are so impressive to me. Like musicians, fabricators, and like owner tuner drivers, those are the ones I look up to.
Yeah.
Anybody that does it better than me, they're legends in my book.
I think that kind of interest, you're able to kind of share that with the audience. You're almost like a conduit.
Because I don't have all the answers. Kind of. I don't have all the answers. So whenever I go and do something, I tell them, I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go do it. And here's what happens. And if I do it wrong, you tell me.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. It works out.
Yeah. When you say mini trucks, did you ever own a lowered mini truck?
Oh, yeah. I've had a bunch of them.
Dude, you've done it all.
I've had bagged and body dropped, hydraulics, static dropped ones where you just crank the torsions bars down.
Damn,
I've had my truck impounded. I've had tickets for modifying my truck in ways you shouldn't. I used to have a truck that would pop the reflectors off the highway, those center line markers. I lay it on the ground on the highway like 60 and just knock those off with my chassis. Which just don't do that, kids. Yeah. Turns out it's illegal. Get tickets for that.
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard at that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But when you're 20, you do a lot of dumb things.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
You're just grateful not to be in jail right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the cops have come to my house. Like, as it turns out, like the video is evidence.
Potential interest.
Oh yeah, I'm banned for life from several places because of us filming us doing like burnouts and stuff. I'm banned for life from the sports park near my house because we drove to the back of it. It was a dead end road. It was closed. We did a burnout, filmed it, put it on the internet. The cops saw it, came to the house. I had to sign a paper say I never come back, and I got a ticket. I can't go there. I bought a car, and I was tired of working on it in my garage. I wanted to go somewhere else, so we engine swapped it in a campground by my house. Turns out they don't like that, so I can't go back there. So yeah, like I've made a lot of mistakes, kids. Don't do these things.
I like the idea of being friends with an outlaw, but like it's limited to like you're not hurting animals or other humans. It's just kind of like doing not so publicly wanted things.
Yeah, if it get you killed, don't do it.
Yeah.
But short of that,
Yeah, man, that's it. Right.
Go
Be a
have
nice
fun.
outlaw. That's what the world
Go
needs.
have fun.
So we got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Tom, you got anything?
I
What are you working on right
Tips?
now?
Welding tips?
welding tips. Geez, that's that. I have no idea.
So you can't say what you were working on, but
Yeah.
you do
I
have a
can
big deal.
tell you simply, I just made a trophy last night that needs to be on a plane to go to London later today, and that's it.
Yeah,
That's all I can do.
yeah,
that
it's pretty
It's
impressive.
not ruining anything, but it's going to another country.
Yeah, I think like it's like not to like reveal anything, but I think like this world is connected even
Oh, it's
beyond like
Yeah.
even beyond like the United States. It's like
Oh yeah.
this
Social media.
gearheads and
Yeah.
connections kind of feeds everywhere.
I mean, in theory,
from your little Australian friend.
yeah, you don't like me no more, but I love Australia because Australia is the second coolest country to me. It's like the second youngest country because where's all the drag racing? Where's all the sprint car guys? Where's the car can be? Like Japan is big with motorcycles and some very unique cars, and Australia is just like a bunch.
Yeah.
We're like a bunch of punks with America.
Well-
they were just swapping and trading cars. You know, all the cool stuff
So-
they got down there. They are a fun country.
So from prison colony to home of nice outlaws,
Yeah, to
we've
cool
gone full
stuff.
circle.
They're huge into it. Like the Australians are probably the most hardcore hot rodders I've ever met.
No
Like,
kidding.
yeah, like if you go over there, they're what you can do and can't do to a car in Australia is so strict that it's a great example. I was over there. We're on a private road course that had been rented out for an event. So just so these guys could do burnouts in their cars because they can't outside. In a burnout's illegal anywhere. Let's be clear. But
Yeah.
these guys, it's so strict over there that in an enclosed trailer was a car with a 4-barrel and an intake on it. Guy brings it out of the trailer, installs a roots blower, drives around the vent, has the time of his life. When it's over, puts the 4-barrel back on. Now, mind you, he didn't drive it on the street. He towed it in the trailer. He said if he got pulled over and they opened the trailer and saw the supercharger, they would impound his car and revoke his registration in Australia.
Jeez.
That's how strict it is over there. So those guys that are doing any of this are as hardcore as it gets.
Yeah. Well,
And they do better burnouts than Americans, like just hands down. Like,
that's going to open the door to the next episode.
Yeah, totally.
We were
do.
driving back to Chicago today. We're gonna do some burnouts just in your honor.
The Australians have it on lock. For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah,
It's
thank
been
you.
fun. Thank you, Tom, for sitting in. Good luck with your mailing project this afternoon.
Yeah, I gotta go back to the shop now.
If you have any comments, criticisms, complaints, send them to podcast@fmamfg.org. And tell your friends about the podcast. Thanks a lot. See ya.
The Fabricator Podcast is a production of Fabricators and Manufacturers Association, located in Elgin, Illinois. The show is hosted by Dan Davis and the staff of FMA Communications. The podcast is produced by Gareth Slager and recorded and edited by Griffin Hammond and Dana Weicker. Sales support provided by Andy Flando. Additional production support by Elizabeth Gavin, Mike Owens, Billy Culpa, Pat Simon, Brandon Geyer, and me, Sarah Spring. Email us at podcast@fmamfg.org. Thank you for listening.